What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. Banks, coming at you live. And today we caught Meta puts for over 100% banger. And I want to teach you how to do this so you can start trading like me and start doing this on a daily basis. First, hit that retweet and like so you don't miss any of this educational content I put out on a daily basis to make you a profitable trader. Now, what do we do for those who have joined, for those who are new? What do we do first? You're correct. We zoom out and we look to left. So we're here on the daily chart here on Meta. What are we looking at? What are the things we're trying to find? We're always trying to find the levels to know. Well, as we know here, 705 is a very, very major level. And I dropped below this the 695 puts we took, the entry and the exit, so you guys can see the timestamps on those. 705 is what we were watching here this morning as a reject, or if we broke and held above to take calls. Now, top-down approach, we should always be looking at the higher time frames. These are going to be showing you the levels that are very important for you to use to either break to move us to the next level up or to reject to move us back down. Now, today we had a big fail of 705, which is a massive, massive resistance level coming into a very big supply. Great. So what does that mean? We know that sellers are here, right? We know that sellers are here. We have a very long, a very overextended run here from the double bottom that we got earlier this year. And why do I call it overextended? What is something that I'll be looking at? Well, let's get into our EMAs now. What am I using for our EMAs? Using 200, 48, 13, and the 8. If you guys want to check out my other videos, I go more in depth. But we're using the 200, 48, 13, and 8. So like any EMAs, the 200, bullish, bearish on the higher time frames. The lower EMAs want to see us cross up. Great. So we are in a bullish run right now to the upside, but we're pretty overextended. And why do I say that? Well, if we look at the 8 EMA, that is going to be our trend indicator. 8 EMA equals trend indicator. So it's showing us to stay in a trend. But as you guys can see, whether it's to the downside or whether it's to the upside, when we get overextended, it's going to act as a huge magnet. Little overextended here. Now we're coming a magnet back into the 8 EMA. And you're starting to see a little bit of a curl. Doesn't mean we can't head higher, but we're starting to see a little bit of momentum starting to gas out with these EMAs. We're starting to kind of curl sideways again. This is showing me, again, we are overextended. The momentum is slowly fading. Doesn't mean we can't head higher here, but we're going to need to hit the brakes, take a deep breath before we can keep this trend going. So again, we are overextended. How did I find that? I'm using my EMAs. Most importantly, the 8 EMA, which is going to be this orange line. So we're looking at the daily chart. Again, top-down approach. We always want to look at the higher time frames and break it down to the smaller time frames. Great, right here, we are a little bit overextended. Where are we coming overextended to? Well, right back into the all-time highs, which is also a big supply. Supply equals sellers. Supply equals sellers. Overextension into heavy sellers. Recipe for at least a small term pullback, if not a greater one. So if you guys were on live with me today, if you're in the Wolves of Wealth, you heard 8 EMA was my target once we failed the 705 level, which I gave on the watch list this morning. We didn't quite get there, but very close, right? We're coming back into it. Again, 8 EMA is our trend indicator. So this is something we want to hold to continue the trend higher. As you guys can see here, break, hold, higher, 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 right? We're holding this trend and likewise to the downside. And we'll get into this to the smaller time frames as well. Hold, hold, hold. We're breaking low. Hold, 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 right? You could see that this is a solid trend indicator showing us what type of trend we are in and showing us, are we heading higher? Are we breaking the trend, or are we continuation of the trend? Great. So we have the overextension. We talked about the EMAs, how we found the overextension, how we found supply. We found the big levels within the daily. We know coming in to the all-time highs is going to be sellers left over here, right? Major sellers. Sellers took us down. Sellers are here. So the highest probability now is going to be to the downside. Overextension, sellers, supply. Great. Now we have our level 705. Let's go down to the 5-minute time frame. So a lot of you hear me say break and hold. What does that mean? Well, we need a full body candle close on the 5-minute time frame to be considered a break and hold. What does that mean? What is a full body candle closure? Does it mean this wick? Does it mean the body and the wick? No, we are talking about the body. So if you guys don't know already with candles, the body, the open for a red candle is going to be at the top of the body, and the close of a red candle is going to be at the bottom. Likewise, with a green candle, the open of the body, right? Not the wick, but the body is the opening price. The closing price is the top of the body on a green candle. So we don't care about wicks. We are looking for a full body open and a full body close on a break and hold. This is going to help you with fake outs. It's going to help you with some confirmations for a reject or for continuation to the upside. Now, as with everything, it's not 100%, but I'd put it around 80 to 90% accurate if you're looking for a full body candle closure on a breakout or on a reject. Great. Here we are at open. We know 705 is our level. Push up at open. We failed. Full body candle close below that level. Great. Now we know that we have fully rejected that level. I mean, we came down, what, 709 to 702? Was that about a 7-point spread rejection? That's showing me that sellers are definitely here. They are definitely heavy here in the morning. If buyers were strong, if buyers were taking control, one, we would have reclaimed that 705 level. Again, we never reclaimed 705 during the day, which we found again on our higher time frame. We knew 705 was that level to break to take us into 718, 720 plus. We failed. Great. We're on the 5-minute time frame. We had a no break and hold on the 5-minute time frame. Now you're saying, well, hey, Mr. Banks, the EMAs, not really seeing a big crossover. We're above the 200. Isn't that bullish? Well, when the EMAs get bundled up like this, when they start to move sideways, when they're not separating, EMA strategies don't really work, right? EMA strategies work only when we are getting a solid trend. So in this instance, we are using price action, which is big wick to the upside, showing us sellers are heavily present within our daily massive supply. Huge 7-point move back down to the downside and a fail of our 705 level. Great. So we're not using the EMAs here yet, and I'll show you when they become important here in just a second. So we're holding here. What happens? Reject, rejection again. We're taking now our puts here in the morning to head lower. Now, why is that? Again, we're not using EMAs here, so let's throw these off for a second. Because again, why? When the market is moving sideways, now this is going to come with experience. This was a little bit more of an experienced trade, but you can do it too. Again, price action telling us we know we are in a heavy supply to the upside. We failed our 705 level. We had a 7-point fail and a close below our 705, a full body open and close below. Massive wick to the upside. So what is this wick telling us? It's telling us that sellers are heavily present. Now, you can call this a bear flag. It's ugly, whatever. I'll call it a bear flag, right? Right here. You have a bear flag here to push lower, right? So let me draw this for you guys. Whoa. I mean, it's pretty ugly, but it's there, right? It's there. So we have a bear flag. Either way, if you don't see the bear flag, we are rejecting and holding below our major 705 level. Not only do we have a big wick showing us sellers are heavily present, we're getting a rejection. Rejection again. So again, what is the highest probability trade here, guys? One, we know that we're in a big supply. We know we're hitting a big resistance. We know we're getting overextended from our EMAs on the daily time frame. And as you guys know, the higher time frames hold more weight. So overextension, fail of a level of a breakout. We look at the smaller time frames. We see that on the 5 minute, a 7-point wick to the back down to the downside on the fail of a 705 breakout. I'll call it a bear flag, or we could just call it multiple rejections below our 705 level. Buyers are not there. They are not taking us higher. They tried at the open. They tried again here. They're not there. They're not taking us over. Now the highest probability trade is going to be to the downside. And why is that? Because sellers are present. And again, we needed a full candle close. Open and close, which is a break and hold, considers a 5 minute full body candle open and close. We got that, but to the downside on the rejection of our level, right? Big wick to the upside, bear flag. Now we're taking puts. Great. So we're holding puts. Ended up getting 105% banger here. And this is where the EMAs are going to come into play. So you know how I was saying how EMAs don't necessarily work when we are moving sideways, right? We'll have to use more of price action, levels, and what the market is telling us. Or if you're a newer trader, you just sit this out. You just sit this out until we start trending. We are technically creating lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, right? We're kind of trending down. And now you see here the big cross. We fail the 200 EMA. We have the 13, the 8, 13, and the 48 crossover. So we also have the separation of our EMAs showing us a trend is starting to form. Now, what do we see here? We see the biggest move of the day when this happens. So why do I say when the market's moving sideways, EMAs don't work? Because you can see we're just kind of moving sideways. But once our EMAs are starting to separate instead of just holding sideways with the market, you can see that this is where the EMA, the BBR strategy comes into play. Rejection of the 200, bearish. We already know we're in a bearish trend to the downside. We have our EMA crosses fail into the 248, 8, and 13. And now we're starting to get a good separation of the EMAs, showing us a strong trend is starting to form. And now you can see that's where we finally get our big move to the downside. So if you guys have any questions, again, we're using a top-down approach. We're seeing a little bit extended, right? We're using our 8 EMA, this orange line here, a little bit overextension. We're coming into a big supply, a big resistance. We failed the breakout of our 705 level. We had a full body candle close below 1, 2, 3. We never even came close to coming back over the 705 level that we had. Sellers are present. We had a 7-point move to the upside, back to the downside, showing us sellers are present. We're overextended. We're failing the level. Bear flag, right? Everything showing us we are weak. Sellers are here. We are now looking for that move down. Looking for that move back into what? Our trend indicator, the 8 EMA. Good job, guys. On the daily, that is our target. And you guys can see here on the smaller time frame as far as the 8 EMA. Right now, we can just ride it. Boom, to the downside, 105% banger. Guys, if you have any questions, please watch my other videos. I'll try to drop some below just so you guys can get a better understanding of the full concept of the BBR strategy, of the EMA strategy. But again, top-down approach, price action showing us sellers are present. The highest probability trade is now to the downside. Again, my name is Mr. Banks, guys. I believe in you. Believe in yourselves. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll get back to you. I love you guys. See you guys next time on another Trade recap. Later.